We are live. There it is. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Brokering with CK. We have a really special guest I'm going to present. I'm not going to speak too much. I'm going to let him introduce himself. But essentially, we have here a savvy real estate investor, has been in the game for quite some time, came from America, and has really founded his ground roots in the real estate investment community. And he goes by the name of Arun Thakur. How are you, brother?
Hey, Charles, doing great. Thank you for inviting me on your platform. I'm really glad to be here.
Perfect. So I want to give you the first couple minutes to introduce yourself and just let people know who you are, what you do, and we'll dive right into it.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So my name is Arun. I live in Ontario, Brampton area, and mainly, my real estate journey is I've done a few flips so far. Wholesaling, multifamily is another field we are scaling in. So that's where a lot of learning is happening. So that's where I am as of now.
Okay, beautiful. And has real estate always been a passion of yours? Because I understand you also do have a full-time job.
Yes, I mean, it was. So we moved to Canada in 2015 from US, me and my wife, and then we have kids here. But it's all about having the right education. So we didn't have the right education in the beginning in 2015. We
Hmm.
still bought our primary residence at that time. But I delayed for a few years and didn't buy anything, just kept looking. I was under the impression that I need to have some equity build up in my house to buy real estate.
Yeah.
So the passion was there. Resources, I was not looking at the right place. That's what I can say.
Okay. Okay. So let's jump right into it. So you moved here in 2015 from America. Did you have a real estate background in America? Were you doing deals in America, and that's what kind of propelled you outside of work? But that what got you interested in once you moved to Canada and getting into the Canadian market, or were you not as in depth in real estate over in America?
To US, I came to study. I'm originally from India, so I belong to a small town in India. Until I did my all studies there, I
Right.
came to do my master's to US and spent
Okay.
a couple of years there working for a few companies. The market was good at that time over there, but there's certain restriction at that time, and again, it's lack of resources, who you surround with at that time. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really invest in the US, but coming to Canada afterwards, due to certain reason, that put me in a spot where I had a couple of resources around me who kind of guided me to properly to make that take that decision and jump into real estate at that time.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. And now you're in Canada in 2015. You said it's been you didn't execute, you didn't pull the trigger on any deals for a couple years, right?
Yeah, I did not, and all that comes to what kind of knowledge you have at that time and what you're doing to increase that knowledge. I mean, I was asking at all the wrong places initially. I was under the impression that again, I have to get that 20% down payment from my own residence, and then I have to put that into real estate to buy another property.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
to get that 20%, I mean, it's going to take a while to get that property appreciated. So
Of course.
so that happened eventually, and I did get that 20%, but I don't think I could have waited that long. But eventually, I did take the action in 2020.
2020. Okay. So between 2015 and 2020, what was the education piece? You said you were educating yourself, right? The mindset. So what was the education piece I guess you were missing that allowed you to uh to pull the trigger in 2020? And let's dive into a little bit more about the deal itself.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I was attending a few events here and there,
Mhm.
different events that happen all across GTA. At that time, no, it wasn't COVID days, so those events were allowed personally. So I was getting to understand what other investors are doing, getting to go on the property tours and so on.
Right.
And then I hired a coach, and we started looking at different properties, and we did skip on few. And in 2020 is when I actually came across a fiveplex, which we wanted to put an offer on. So I was, I was not sure at that time to go into a fiveplex right away, but we made it happen, and I mean, eventually that deal worked out fine afterwards. But that was that gap from 2015 to 2020 is how that worked out.
Wow, that's interesting. So, you know what? Usually people go from, single family home or something like that, or like a duplex, triplex, but you jumped right into essentially commercial at that point, right?
I did, and that's what I'm seeing right now as well. Like everybody who does duplex, triplex nowadays, and eventually after 5 years, 10 years, they are buying bigger buildings. So I'm like, if I want to go into the bigger building later on, why don't I start the journey now? And that's where the shift has happened. Like if that's where it is, I should be doing that like right now instead of going duplex, triplex, and then 20 units, 30 units, and so on.
Right.
And also joining the right groups, which does that all the time, helped me as well. So that's a shift which I made. I mean, initially I didn't have that kind of mindset, but that has changed for sure.
Right. Okay. So, okay. I know. I like that. Again, that's the first time I've heard of it. Where it's like, you know what? You knew exactly the end goal was to be in the large multi-unit space, right? Apartment buildings, etc. It's like, well, instead of going into a smaller single-family project, let me just start off with a small commercial building off the jump.
Yes, that was it. I mean, I didn't really go with that focus initially, but as we as we started doing it, the focus had become more clear, and that's how it is. It may not be clear in the beginning when
Right.
anyone starts their journey. Once you start taking those small steps, and you start getting the path starts getting better, clearer, and the picture starts getting clearer too. So I think that's what it is.
Right. And if you don't mind me asking, like, let's talk about that deal specifically. Where about was it?
It was in Wallen.
Well, in Ontario, good
Yeah,
old Niagara.
yeah.
Yeah. And how, like, in terms of analyzing the deal, because you were still with your coach at this time, right?
I was. So we looked at that property. Even before that property, actually, two deals fell apart from what I was offering.
Oh no.
One was due to the Scotia Bank backing out because of some moisture in the basement, so the appraisal didn't come the way we wanted it to be, so I had to back it out. So I spent $1,000 on appraisal and inspection and all that, and $1,000 is gone. Another deal fell short because I bought it through a wholesale deal, and the seller has more debt on the property than what they were selling it for. So
Hmm.
I mean, that didn't work out. So the two deals still fell before I jumped into this one, but it's not like every deal is going to work the way we want it to be.
Right.
Uh, and yeah, this deal was a fiveplex in Welland. We analyzed all the numbers and so on. So I can go into more details, if you want to discuss about that one.
Yeah, no, I would love to just get a better understanding of the numbers, right? Because anyone who's going to be watching this now, either live or on the replay, it's always good to kind of understand, like, what are you looking at from like, I guess, this fiveplex deal? Are you looking for cash flow? Is it mainly appreciation? Because Welland and Niagara is on the up and up now. What were the numbers that you were looking for to target in order to make it work for you?
Yes, as at that time, I was definitely looking at the cash flow to sustain that property and so
Right.
on. The purchase price at that point was 477 is what it was, 477 for 5 units. And there's a net operating income in play in bigger multifamilies or 5 units and up.
Yeah.
So that was like around $30,000 after all, like all the units rented out and so on, expenses taken out. I think 27 or $30,000.
Right.
Uh, but there was during the walkthrough we found out few things, like one of the apartment was getting vacant, or was already vacant, so I knew I could rent it out for $1,200. And another tenant couple were leaving, so I could increase the rent to like by $200-300. So all that comes into play, and that's the beauty of multifamily. Like every dollar you increase the net operating income, your value of the property goes by $18 or $20 based on the cap rate. So
Right.
even this year, like I increased the rent by, it's 1.2, right? So I increased the rent by $35. So if you do that multiplication, 35 into 12, that's I think $300-400. But
Right.
if $200, yeah, $200. But if you divide that by cap at 5, I mean, you're probably increasing the property value by that much, and that's significant in multifamily world. So that's all it worked out. I mean, two apartments turned over, and third one did after that. So yeah, that's all we did for that one, and we were able to refinance after.
Beautiful. Now, and that was my second question. So, was this turnkey, or did you have to do some cosmetic renovations, facelift, things like that, to unlock the value of the property in order to bring up those rents?
I did do some renovations, although I did not go very heavy on the renovation based on the market demand. I did not want to spend that much to really
Right.
uplift the value to that extent. Like I can't target the kind of tenants I'm looking for. I was looking for tenants who can pay $1,000 to 1,200. So I only needed to spend what I needed to spend to make it look good, feel good, and clean building, and that's all I did. I didn't go crazy on the renovations or so on. Uh, I mean, somebody can definitely do that and attract better quality tenants. Needed to be who might pay $300 more, but that wasn't the plan in the beginning. How we went into the building.
Do you know what? That's not something I hear that's spoken about even across even a large investment groups, because I tend to find that when people are doing the renovation process, right, they may err on the side of doing a little bit too much, right? But it's I like that the fact that you mentioned that you did the renovations based off of the rents or the tenants you're looking to attract, and you were okay with anyone paying around 1,000 to 1,300 bucks a month. So you did your renovations as per so.
Yes, and that's the kind of calculation I already ran, and I still do that. I still run those numbers, and we find out like what kind of renovations need to happen for each unit.
Right.
If we are targeting $10,000 and it ended up going $15,000, then the rent has to be significantly increased as well to match that renovation value. So that's a calculation that should be done prior, before you even looking at the deal and making an offer and so on, to make sure that's all considered.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So you have the fiveplex deal. It's your first deal, right into the commercial side. So how did that leverage you into where you are now? What was like the ripple effect moving down the line?
Yeah. So after I did that deal, I was looking for another property, how to do more deals, how to acquire more, and then same thing happened again. So at that time I didn't know how to raise money and all that. So I started looking into wholesaling. So that year I started looking into wholesaling, started dialing and doing some marketing campaigns and so on. So that year I was fully focused on wholesaling side of the real estate, and yeah, I mean, I was able to do 3 deals that year, 2020 afterwards. So yeah, that's where that ended afterwards.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Wholesaling, just for those who are there's a few people on watching right now, and again for the replay as well. Can you just break down what wholesaling is?
Sure, and probably many people have heard of what wholesaling is, but it's basically you're finding a property where there might be some work needed, or some other terms you're giving to the sellers,
Hmm.
and negotiating that upfront, and getting them out of situation where they're not comfortable either. So then getting them to make that decision, giving them the power to leverage that, and you basically end up locking that agreement for a specific price, and then you can add on any fee you want on top of it, and sell it to another investor who it might be more suitable. So Shanaya Properties is how investors know us in the market now. So
Right.
that's where our any list or emails go out for our investors who are on our list, to to mention all the wholesale opportunities available at the time.
Right. So, and this is the interesting part. And I want to understand maybe a little bit more of systems, right? Because I find that wholesaling was definitely more of a, at least when I got in to real estate about 2.5, 3 years ago, wholesaling was definitely more of a American, very popular in America at that time still. And then I find that over the last a year and a half, 2 years, it's just blown up in Southern Ontario. I'm sure you can speak to this a little bit more. So, being that we have the increase in market competition, right? Naturally, I feel like there's more wholesalers now in Southern Ontario more than ever. And don't forget, like, you still have a full time job, right?
Mhm.
What systems did you have in place to actually be able to even lock up those three deals, right? Were you doing a lot of this remotely? Can you speak to a little bit more of that?
Yeah, I mean, until the agreement gets signed, I was doing it remotely, and that's how the model is. Somebody can definitely go to each property and do it, physically or face to face, and
Right,
but I had some time limitations, and yeah, in the U.S. market, that it's a common, like, wholesaling is has been happening for many years, and in
right.
Canada, I think it's recently, like 3-4 years, when it has picked up.
Yeah,
The US market does have one advantage is they have this open data. Like, you can see who owns this house, how much equity I have, and all that, and you call me. So in Canada, Canadian market, that data is not open, so nobody can't really get
right,
into all that. But there's a plus point of that. You can make a better fee on here. So there's a marketing cost, there's a competition, a little bit of it, so you can definitely make a better fee compared to US markets, on some of these properties. So yeah, those system wise, I mean, I do have two team members who kind of help me now, but yeah, it's all about cold calling initially, and system, I didn't pay much attention to the system first. I think it's more about getting execution in the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
So that's what I did.
yeah. So because you're working remote, would you say the main thing is what? Like, are you cold calling these individuals, and then once you get a hit or get a lead, that's when you maybe either yourself will go out or you send one of your teammates to go out and try to get it under contract, or how would that work?
Yeah, initially I did cold call Kijiji and so on, and Kijiji has definitely become more competitive now. Because everybody's looking at Kijiji, and but yeah, flyers, marketing, flyers, SEO, all that is part of it. And if we do get a call, I mean, if it's a really motivated seller and we want to make the deal happen quickly, that's when we kind of go and drive and go and get this done. But it also depends on what kind of deal it is. We don't end up going to all the deals personally. I mean,
Right,
sometimes sellers just want to get a price, and they have three other people coming on to take a look at their house. If they're just looking for the best offer, we probably are not the best fit for them. I mean, they can compete over $2,000, $3,000, but that doesn't make sense for us to kind of take that deal and spend that much time on the deal to earn somewhat of it.
right. No, makes sense. You want to, especially with all the work that goes into it on the back end, right?
Yeah,
And with
yeah,
the market the way it is, yeah, last thing you want to do is cut down on your fees essentially because there's a demand for what you're doing, right?
yeah,
But you're
yeah.
still creating a win-win solution for all parties, more or less.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. And I'm more into virtual wholesaling now, so
Yeah.
sometimes we get the contract signed, and that's when we kind of schedule the walkthroughs and inspections afterwards. Now we know that's the price we want to pay, and a seller wants to take, and that also saves us some time.
So, just to segue from wholesaling, so at what point now, so 2020 you got your first property, the fiveplex, you've gone into wholesaling. That same year, you were able to wholesale three deals, right? Now, because now you obviously, at being a wholesaler, you're privy to so many deals on the market. Is this when, and is this when you kind of segued into flips, or when did flips start coming into play?
Flips I started doing 2021. So the market was really hot, and we had two flips coming along, which were good. So yeah, we did two flips. One was myself, another I partnered up with someone, and yeah, so we did two two more deals that last year and two flips and one multifamily as well on top of it.
All right. So let's break down the flips, right? Was it? It seems like you have a love for the Niagara market. Was the flip also in Niagara?
It was, yes, in the Niagara market, both of them.
Yeah, I'm from Niagara, St. Catharines specifically. So yeah. So anytime people speak about Niagara, I laugh a little bit. We're about to Niagara.
It was in St. Catharines market.
Look at that, beautiful. Let's break that down. Was that through a wholesale, like in terms of you got it under contract, or was it on APS off market?
This was off market through my own marketing. So we do flyers and SEO and all that. So that's where that came from.
Right. Are you okay with kind of breaking down a little bit of the numbers in terms of like how much did you lock it up for and like the renovations you put into it?
Yeah, sure. So the second one we locked it up for 345 in St. Catharines, and we put like $42,000 into it. So that was that 387 plus whatever commission and other expenses, and we sold it for 500. That was sold in like 3 days in December last year. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. So how long did you hold on to it for?
That was done in like 2 months and 15 days. But the partner, I mean, she was really good. She executed really well. We were planning to do it like 3 months or so, and maybe 4 months to sell after total. So, but yeah, I think it was done in like 2 months and was on the market in the next 3 days and was sold to a family who was gonna enjoy that house.
Beautiful. And in terms of like the financing piece, right? Because whenever we're doing flips, I find that a lot of people you got to lock it up quickly if there's competition, right? And obviously depending on how much work the house needs, it may not be the best for conventional financing, right? As you probably already know. So was this something that you locked up through a conventional bank? Did you use private money? What was the game plan approaching the flip?
We used a private lender, so we didn't go the traditional route of conventional financing or even a private lender. It's an investor who wanted to make a return on his money. So now we have kind of developed that relationship and partner along with the partners that we are able to buy some of these that way. So yeah, that's the goal now, to do more partnerships this year. Execute on those deals more. So I'm definitely looking for more partners in different markets, especially in Niagara Falls and other areas. So any active partners who are in their market who kind of are looking for those kind of opportunities. We're definitely looking for partnerships, and even in the multifamily space, like we are investing heavily in multifamily in learning and coaching and as well. So definitely open for partnerships more now.
No, that's amazing. Especially again, I find that Niagara still has a lot of value, even though St. Catharines, I find that's pretty expensive now. But a lot of my clients and a lot of the people I'm working with are extremely interested in like the Wellands, the Fort Eries, the Port Colbornes, even going out to even Chippewa. As we get closer and closer, there's a lot of gems, especially in that Welland market, because it hasn't fully tapped out yet. There's still some desirable neighborhoods that still have so much room to grow, right? Is that where you guys are kind of focusing and heading it on?
Yes, there is still potential in Welland and St. Catharines. Yeah, I mean, I'm so surprised how market has picked up.
Yeah.
Welland, so that two-bedroom house which kind of fell up, which didn't go happen. I was in St. Catharines. I was like, sorry, it was in Welland. That was for $164,000.
Wow.
In 2019, like September, October.
Holy.
Right, so now I look at that, I'm like, yes, that's how it was. But there's still money to be made in this market. It's not that we have lost the train or we have missed the train, right? Like there's money to be made. There, people are doing deals all day long. It's just having that shift in mindset and having right partnership. I think that can accelerate that investment path.
No, for sure. You just gotta find it.
Yeah.
Now I know you being so active, right, from the wholesaling side and the flipping side, you gotta have some horror stories, right? You've gotta have some horror stories. Tell me about them.
Yeah, I mean, some of the deals, they don't go the way we wanted. Sometimes they're just, since there's certain things from investor perspective and seller perspective. We were actually working on a deal this last week, and North Bay, and so yeah, it's a situation that sometimes you have to manage between a seller and an investor who is buying the place. Like sometimes there might come few things, so you're like a solution provider who are kind
Yeah.
of fixing the problem or providing a solution for what everyone is looking, both ends are looking for. So yeah, I mean, there are definitely a few things that can go wrong on the wholesaling side as well. So having right kind of statements in the agreement and right kind of verbiage looked out by your lawyer is critical, because that can definitely go the other way too.
Right. On the flipping side, have you ever, like, from one of the flips that you've done, excuse me, has things ever been delayed, or just, contractors, like, has there anything that's been happen on that side, or has it been pretty smooth up until this point?
For those two flips we did, we had pretty good planning, but I mean, that's a two flips done in a whole year, so I can expect less problem. But as we do more flips, I'm sure there's gonna be some of those unknown areas where we're going to jump into.
Yeah.
And the ride is never smooth in real estate. You have to be ready for it, and I think throughout the journey and all that, I think I've had the mindset now, like where we can take those rides and get those done.
I don't know what happened with you. You're lucky. You are lucky. Usually it's the first flip that always goes a little bit wonky, right? Well, you jumped into your first commercial deal. That was your first ever deal. Two flips, pretty smooth. Life is good.
It's all about. I think I do a lot of analysis, and sometimes that's not good, right? Like you might be doing a lot of analysis, not taking any action, and all
Yeah.
that. So yeah, all the deals I actually put my money into our partners' money. I mean, I want to make sure we're gonna make money either in, if the market goes down, we still will be okay, or if the flip turns doesn't turn the way that we want it to be, so there's enough margin for us to play. uh,
Right.
and I mean, everybody's a hero in a upgoing market, but when it goes down, that's when the true test comes in any of the real estate, I guess I can
Yeah.
say that. So yeah, I'm pretty doing due diligence to make sure numbers work, our estimates work, and all that, and then that's how we kind of firm up on the deal and go for it.
Right. So you mentioned it, right? In case markets go down and stuff like that. As you obviously know, there's been so much change in the last year with everything that's happened from COVID, to now. Obviously, the Bank of Canada has raised its overnight rate. Um, like, how has your business pivoted? Right? Have you done anything now, or are you expecting to do anything new with some of the most recent changes that just came out today?
Yeah, so the deals I am actually running at. So even the Saskatchewan deal, we actually bought another multifamily there. So I like to run the interest rate at 4% right from the beginning. So I think my interest rate is still under that right now. What it's gonna be with the variable rate. So that's the kind of homework you have to do with the numbers upfront, and that's what we have done. So yeah, I'm not worried about our properties taking a hit. I'm more actually excited about anything that might come on the market due to this. Right? So uh, if somebody hasn't done their calculation upfront, it might be hitting them a little bit in their pocket, and there might be new opportunities coming on the market just due to that. And if
Right.
there's another hike, I mean, that could definitely put more opportunities out there for someone who is looking to sell now.
No, for sure. So you mentioned something. You glided right over it. You said a multifamily Saskatchewan. That's You're closing deals out of province too now. Tell us a little bit more about that. So you're looking at remote areas as well.
I am, yeah. So Saskatchewan is a market where we went into recently. January. We closed on a 8 unit building there, Regina specific market. So yeah, we're looking in Regina, Saskatoon, There's another 24 unit building that we put under contract in a smaller town. So I'm trying to understand the demographics of that area now in Saskatchewan.
Hmm.
So yeah, absolutely, we are looking in that market now for sure. And I talked to all these different sellers in Ontario and Saskatchewan, and the expectation is way too high here. There are deals to be found, but I think somebody has to be comfortable with the cash flow and the appreciation perspective,
Yeah.
which we were not at that point. But yeah, still some markets we're looking around here in Ontario, which we will be going into for sure.
So yeah, like, I guess maybe speak to this because this is obviously very cool, right? Like the fact that you're able to lock up deals in Saskatchewan. Talk about so this is sight unseen. You're not flying out to Saskatchewan and going to see these properties yourself. I'm assuming, right?
No, no, I will be going, but we have already closed on it. So I'll be going to just take a look and make sure everything is working the way we want it to be. But yeah, this is sight unseen remote investment for now.
So can you talk a little bit about the due diligence process then? On like for an out of town deal.
Yeah, yeah, and I can tell you the process is almost the same. What somebody will do, let's say the property is in Niagara region. You can go and touch it. Here, you can't touch it remotely, but yeah, I had a team of inspection guy, appraisal, so it's the same process. So we did a virtual walkthrough first before we did any inspection or appraisal. Walked through the building and made sure our expectation is where it is. That's how the building is set up properly, and then the inspection follows. So the inspection guy sent me a report afterward, and we discuss anything that needs to be addressed and so on. Yeah, and then the same process and appraisal and all that. Uh, but yeah, I'm glad I'm doing that now because I was afraid of to invest in remote markets, and I think some people might have that fear. uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I can say this is all a mind shift change.
Right.
If you wanna expand in multifamily space, it is possible that Ontario might not be giving you that many deals right now, and there might be holding you back. But once you start expanding, and mind shift happens, and I have a right team to guide me too. So
Oh, sorry, it froze. It froze a little bit. Okay, so now, is that where your main is in terms of multi units? Because obviously the price points in Ontario are a little bit too aggressive, and if I understand correctly, you're not getting the cash flow numbers that you want. That is what's forced you to kind of look outwards to Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Regina, those places.
yeah, yeah, Saskatchewan market definitely is a balance right now. Although this is still off market opportunity. There's listing on the MLS, and I find those are not open to that much negotiation because now we're going through an agent, and then the seller doesn't get to what we want, and we can't provide what they want. So this is off market opportunity, and we are doing another walkthrough of 24 units in Regina, like on 9th of this month. So that's what I found. Like when I connect with sellers directly and get to know about the building, what they're trying to do, if it's a good building, why they're getting rid of it, or why they're selling it, right?
Right.
So yeah, it all comes to that, and we are not specifically after cash flow. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so some of these deals, like I'm able to negotiate the price a bit here and there due to certain things popping up during the inspection and during the later phases of the property due diligence. So this property we bought under like $65,000 less than the appraised price. So that equity was created right on the buy. So and that could happen in Ontario as well, but that's kind of like deal structure we are creating to create that potential profit right on the buy itself.
Right. So what do you? I guess no. That's a great negotiation. So someone selling and you're asking to get 65K below appraised value. Like what type of things are you bringing up with that? Because obviously that's a very good tactic and strategy, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the initial numbers that are given to us, let's say insurance was $2,000. Now I go back to insurance company, now it's $3,800. So that's going to eat all the cash flow, or what? Not all the cash flow, some of the cash flow we have calculated. So that's one kind of scenario I'm telling, like how that has structured our deal bit around the price point, and giving a faster closing as well. So those are some of the um, some of those factors which we consider. There might be others, the roof might need repair and so on. So eventually the price gets a little bit at a point where we feel comfortable putting our money in there, and our partners, investors' money into those deals. So yeah, those are the factors we're considering in the market. That's not to say we're not looking in Ontario market. I'm definitely looking in Sudbury, North Bay, and other markets I know here right now.
So you mentioned you're obviously taking down a lot of deals, and 24 unit building potentially coming up. I hope you guys get that. So the first thing that pops into my mind is money. A lot of people who are looking to get into real estate, they're under their assumption that they have to use their own money for everything, which is obviously great if you have, but that's a large amount of capital. Most people may not have access out of their own personal T4 income or family to provide that much capital. Talk to us a little bit about the journey to understanding how to leverage OPM, and what's your packages like, right? What are you doing to provide value for your investors?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, other people's money. I was, it's all about the mindset shift. So most of the time when we try to ask for money, we think like, we're trying to beg for it, or the other person is doing us a favor. But when their mindset shift happens, somebody trying to raise money, they have to go with that, as you're presenting them an opportunity to make money, and you have to be certain that you're going to make money, right? Like, you can't push them into a deal where they're going to lose money, and now it seems like, yes, you did lose their money. So that's first thing, is make sure the deal works, even if it goes different ways, they're still going to keep money. For this deal, for example, like $65,000 lower value, I still expect this is like gonna go $100,000 here in few months. So let's say we have to sell this building soon here in a few months. The investor is still gonna make what we promised them to. So that's one thing. First thing is you have to make sure the deal works, and second thing is somebody trying to raise money, they have to take this as a opportunity presentation to someone. You're not asking for money, just to throw it out of the window. You have to go with the right mindset. This opportunity, many people have a lot of funds nowadays in their RSP and other places which is not making money. And I talk to, now I'm expanding my reach, I'm talking to different investors every day. Like, they have funds sitting in different accounts that's doing nothing, basically. So basically helping those to make some money in such kind of market where stocks are so volatile as well. So I think it makes sense to open that horizon and go with the right mindset. Um, and yeah, what was your second question? Sorry.
No. I guess too bad I forgot this one, but I thought of something while I was like, I'm trying to think like,
Yeah.
okay, so you find a deal, right? What are you structuring for them to get, like, how long are they getting their money back, right? Because I'm assuming for anyone who's watching it on the replay, commercial deals, you're probably looking at what, 25 to 35% down, and anywhere between there.
25 is what we did for this one. Absolutely, this can go up to like 30 or 35 for sure. It depends on the lender as well.
Depends on the lender as well, right? So 25% down. So essentially you're getting anywhere between, let's say, 70-75% loan to value on
Yes.
that property, right?
Yeah.
So you're financing, just to be clear, because again, there's a lot of new people who are going to be watching this. You are crowdfunding essentially the down payment.
Yes, that 25% comes from investor pool.
Right.
So that's how that comes into play. Yes, that's how it is.
Beautiful. And how are people getting their money back, right? Because as an investor, I'm giving you whatever, 100K, 200K, 300K for some of these larger units. They're expensive, right? How are individuals getting the money back? What's the timeline structure usually?
So again, it also depends on each deal, but I'll talk different scenarios. So if we have a building which will return the money, let's say for this building, for example, we bought in Saskatchewan. if it's returning money, and we're looking to refinance this in 2 years, I think 18 months to 2 years is when we should be able to get a refinance done and raise a little bit rents during that time, and do some improvements in the property. So within 2 years, we are looking to refinance, and when the refinance happens, let's say somebody invested $100,000 into the deal, they will get that 100,000 back as the first position of the deal. So and so their initial capital gets returned. Whatever is left on the table, that gets split based on our initial understanding of the partnership.
Mm.
Let's say and again, it's a very deal specific.
Right, right, of
we,
course.
we we could be giving 20%, 30%, up to 40, 50% of each deal to the investor. So let's say, for example, this is 25% is given to somebody to invest $100,000 into the deal, and now they have $100,000 back, and there's $50,000 remaining on the table to be split up 50-50, or 25% to them and 75 to someone else. So
Right.
they're going to take 25% of that. So that'll be 12,500 out of 50,000. So now at that point, investor already got their money back. They made 12,500 in 2 years, and they still have that 25% share in the property. So that means if we sell it after fifth year, they will, whatever the profits are left after all the expense and everything, they will still make 25% of that. So I mean, after 2 years, when you get your money back, it's an infinite return for someone who
Right.
has the money back. And we might be looking to invest into other deals that might be available at that time. But that's the strategy we are using right now.
Okay, so not only are you investing the because I've seen a couple different strategies. So not only you crowdfunding from your investors for the down payment, but you're also giving them a certain profit share of the actual building as well if we're to sell in the future, not just a return on their money based off their initial investment.
Yes, that's how we did for this deal. Obviously, I could go hard money loan as well. That's what many people do. They don't, I mean, they prefer not to split the equity and so on. But I think that's where the main game is, to for someone to get wealth, create the wealth in future.
Right.
Is when you get a share of the equity sometimes. And I mean, you can definitely, if you're looking for shorter term strategy, getting 10 to 15% on a flip, 6 months, and get your money back might be a better strategy. But when somebody's looking to build their wealth, I mean, this building, if we sell it after 5 years, I don't know what it's going to be worth, but even with 3% or so on, it might be worth way more, like $1 million. So
Right.
that's where that wealth gets created in future. We are kind of delegating that quick return, but when that does happen, it's gonna bring some equity back to everyone involved in the deal.
Nice, nice. So what's next for you for yourself and Shanaya Properties? What's the next move?
Yeah, so looking to expand more into wholesaling world of it, trying to set up proper team and structure.
Hmm.
So yeah, we are looking to do some more marketing, understand more of it. So definitely that's the focus, to get that machine going. And multifamily is where we're looking to scale up. Yeah, I mean, before joining specific group, like I've joined Alfonso Quadras group, so I
Nice.
didn't have that kind of mind focus, and I was limited to like 100 units. But now talking to them, and their focus is like 75 units, 7,500 units, and I'm like, I want to scale to 500 units. That's where I want to be, and that's the journey we are on right now, to scale up to 500 units, and do it with different partners along with, to make those happen.
That's amazing, eh? You get it. You think you have a goal. You think like, wow, 100 units, that's a lot. And
Yeah,
then you get into a room where individuals are their goal is. You said 1,400,
7,500.
7,500 units, and then once you're around individuals and you're hearing them talk and them speak, you realize, oh wow, like this is very much so doable.
Yeah, and that's all it is. When you're in a room where these kind of things are happening, 8 and 10 units become normal. Like, it wasn't like that before, but now somebody's doing 20 units, 30 units, 50 units, and 10 units, 12 units. Like,
Right.
this is normal now. So yeah, getting to the right group and understanding what they are doing and listening to it today, a monthly and masterminds and so on, it definitely can change a lot of things. So I'm trying to systemize some of that as well, and also scale up the wholesaling side of the business.
Nice, beautiful, beautiful. Now, before I let you go, I always ask this to all my guests. If you had to talk to your younger self getting into real estate, so 2015 RN, what's one main lesson that you would say, or one key thing that you've learned that you would say, you know what, if I knew this, I would have been much better going off this way or doing this better.
Yeah, I would say, if somebody is waiting for money, and they don't have money, let's say they don't have money right now to invest in real estate, there are always sources to make money. um, if you're lacking capital right now, start wholesaling, right? Or start working with other people who have money. Somebody already have that what you want, and maybe they don't have what you have. So a skill set you can bring to the table. Maybe somebody is already looking for it. So more people you talk to about those. Like my skill set is to make these deals happen.
Hmm.
So I can find these off-market deals which only different wholesalers can do. So that's my strength. I can make the deal happen. I can take it to the finish line. And I'm also looking for partnerships where people can raise funds, because I'm also learning a little bit of it as well myself. So I was able to raise some funds for this deal. But that's where it is. If you're lacking something, let's say it's a capital, time, or people, like there are people out there who has that. So once start collaborating and putting it out to the world, I think it's easier to find rather than just waiting for it to come to yourself. By that, you have to put some word out that this is what you're looking for, and who is there to help you out.
I wouldn't have left it off a better way. Aaron, the deal closer. He brings the deal to the finish line. I like that. Perfect. How can people get in contact with you, Aaron? If they want to get in contact with you, maybe they have a deal, maybe they're looking to partner up. What's the best and easiest way they can communicate with you, get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can go to Shanaya Properties, SHANAYA Properties.com, and they can fill up a form. Actually, it has like what they're looking for. If they're looking for deals, they can register for that. If they're looking for partnership and other things, they can definitely fill it up there. And I actually look at that myself. I don't have someone else looking at it. So if they fill it up and there's a partnership, and I send a questionnaire after to fill it up, and we will jump on a call afterwards with them to discuss further if there's any potential opportunity to work together.
Beautiful. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right, episode 4 of 4, Arun Tucker. All right, if you have a deal, you want to get in contact with them, make sure you reach out to him directly. He's doing great things, big things, again, in the multi-unit space and the wholesaling space. As always, this is Broken with CK, and we'll see you next time. Thank you again, Arun, for your time.
Hey Charles, thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. It's been great, doing these and giving my thoughts on how it works, and hopefully it helps somebody. And please feel free to reach out if anyone is interested to learn more.
There it is. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.